Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breech coming to you. I'm a firm believer of, almost everybody who's ever held the WWF title deserves to be, put in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, WWF Hall of Fame, whatever you want to call it. I believe that uh, whatever the problems is, somehow, the problems that are with the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, I think both of those guys deserve to get in. People were heavily rumoring that this was going to be the year that Savage was finally going to be put in. Lanny Poffo says that the only way that they're going to let the Macho Man go into the Hall of Fame is if you put the whole Poffo family in there, including the Genius, which is a little bit of a stretch, but hopefully one day they can work their way around it and get him in there. I believe the Ultimate Warrior, as much batshit crazy as he is, and as much as I was on Team Hogan instead of Team Warrior back in the day, I do believe that he did carry the WWF for a small period of time, and I did believe he had a big fan base, and he did, you know, he did well for wrestling, when he was there, and I thought that he deserves to find his way in the Hall of Fame. I've always said that I believe that anybody who carried an era or at least carried a title, should find their way in there. And then this year, when they started throwing around that The Rock was going to put Yokozuna in the Hall of Fame, I sort of was like, uh, wait a minute. I don't know. I sort of got a little bit thrown off by that. I just was like, I don't know if Yoko really deserves to be in there. I mean, yeah, Yoko has the two big moments of WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 9 and WrestleMania 10, both with the titles. WrestleMania 9, he went in, he defeated Brett, and then he lost to Hogan in that horrible moment where you can just see Vince bending over for Hulkster and just giving him whatever he wanted because he knew he needed those extra buys. I don't know anybody who really bought WrestleMania that year just to see the Hogan match. I think that even as a kid, I looking back now, I can see that they were phasing him out and moving him towards the back. They were moving towards the era of Brett and the other young guys. I don't remember anybody as a kid ever like saying they really wanted to watch it just to see them hand it to Money Inc. It just it didn't really make sense to me. But and then the whole WrestleMania 10 was built around the two guys, Lex Luger and Bret Hart, winning the Royal Rumble that year, and with some help from the shady referee. Yokozuna was able to beat Luger, and then he moved on, and Bret Hart got the moment where he finally got to beat Yoko, and that was a real big deal. I remember that. I also remember SummerSlam. I believe it's '93 where Luger bought it. It's one of the first shows I remember my dad telling me that I could buy on pay-per-view. I thought that was a really big deal. It was actually held on the first day of school for me when I was in seventh grade. I had my buddy come over from school and we watched it. I remember us going crazy when he knocked Yoko out and he got the win. They dropped all the red, white, and balloons down. And I remember I was marking out. I was running around like crazy. Um, I don't know. And then I think it was Heenan who was the you guys are idiots. The title doesn't change hands on the count out. Luger was going crazy and all of that. I don't know. A little side effect that if that if you like, people making videos telling you about watching wrestling as a kid, like I did just with that moment right there. Man on Fire 310 put up his WrestleMania 21 review, not really like a DVD review, but he talked about going there as a kid. I'll link that video down in the description box. But that was really good video that really got me fun. I think I'm gonna watch WrestleMania 21 tonight just because of his video. But I don't know. Yokozuna to me just I don't know. Maybe if it's when I think about Yoko, he was only wrestling for that small period of time, and I've never really gone back and watched Yokozuna matches. I don't even think I've watched WrestleMania 9 or WrestleMania 10 in so long. But I mean, or that SummerSlam match either. But when I always think of him, I think of the heroes of wrestling, Yokozuna. Basically, I think he was in '99 or 2000. Well, he died in 2000, so it has to be somewhere in that time. They had an independent show that was put on pay-per-view pretty much, where they just brought back a whole bunch of old guys. In the main event, Yokozuna fought it, and I swear to God, Yokozuna weighed at least 700 pounds is a good number, maybe 800 pounds. Like, legitimately, he was freaking huge, and I cannot get that moment out of my head. I cannot remember. I remember as I watched back and Brett would fight him, I would just like think it was cheating and it was unfair that somebody was that big that was out there. I never really got behind Yokozuna, and I just I don't know why I can't, with a lot of guys, I can watch their matches and I can get behind them, and people that I hated back in the day. I used to hate Shawn Michaels as a kid. I've told that story a few times, but I remember telling my grandma over breakfast one day that I hate this guy, Grandma, and she told me that I wasn't allowed to use language like that, and I said, no, you don't understand. No, I hate this guy. I just when he first broke off in the Rockers and he had that whole Heartbreak Kid angle with him and Sherry Martel. I didn't know what gay was, but he was gay. I can tell you that. But I mean, I can't shake that from Yoko for some reason. So I'm not really 100% behind Yokozuna getting in the Hall of Fame. He wasn't really much of a lock-up wrestler. He was a kick and punch sort of guy. And he just sort of moved his weight around. A lot of people like to talk about how fast he was on his feet back in the day, but I can think of a lot of fat guys that are big guys, if you want to be politically correct, I guess, that sort of talked about that way. And the Bam Bam Bigelow for one, and I just don't think he is the best of what he was. I do believe that every champion does have their day. I can also make this sort of video, sort of saying that maybe Psycho Sid doesn't deserve to go in there, but I think it's gonna be a long day in hell before Psycho Sid sees his Hall of Fame days with the WB. I think that's a video that probably will never need to be made. But first, I think we need to work on getting the Warrior in and get Savage in. But if Yoko goes in this year, maybe it's because The Rock is saying that they want to get The Rock at the Hall of Fame, I guess you can say, so they can get some people watching it on TV whenever they put it on TV. Or I don't think anybody really buys WrestleMania just to get the Hall of Fame, or just to get some attention. They don't really need the attention. The Hall of Fame, I think, sells out every year. But maybe they went to The Rock and they said, we would like you to be there, since they're probably saving him, I guess, for 30. I don't think they'll put him at 29. I think they're going to put him in a landmark one. I think they'll put him in at 30. That's just me. And just said, at least if we can get you there, who would you like to put in? They may have already put in his dad, his grandpa, so maybe he'd want to put in somewhere from his bloodline. So I guess he'd pick Yokozuna. And I remember the first time that I ever heard that he wasn't Japanese and he was Samoan. I mean, I was older. I still didn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, wow. And I remember on one of the DVDs they showed, him how he used to go back and he used to train wrestlers. This is Yokozuna, and he'd set up the rings in the middle of what looked like jungles. They weren't even in buildings, and I was just like, wow. I just couldn't believe it that he wasn't from Japan. I mean, his manager was Mr. Fuji and all. It didn't make any sense. So that's just me sharing my thoughts. I don't know who listened to me ramble through this, but that's my thoughts on Yokozuna. I know freaking Yeah88, I know he is a big Yokozuna fan, and he's been pushing to get Yokozuna in the Hall of Fame. Hopefully this video can make him put a video that's out there. I've asked him for his thoughts 2 or 3 times, and he's given to me, and I still don't get it. I don't understand why this guy would go in the Hall, but, everybody has their day. As I found out from the Batista one, if Coco Beware can get in, anybody can get in. I don't know.